What it is, y'all? Mike back again. Time for some more audio commentary. Today I want to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. Probably my second love after music is professional wrestling. Not probably, it fucking is. Mainly all the stuff from like 1984 to I would say 2007, maybe. You know what I mean? 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't know. A lot of those years are just fucking bad. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, even though that era was still kind of shitty, they were some glimpses of fucking hope. They really was, you know. And once AJ Styles and Nakamura and NXT started being its own brand, that's when I started enjoying wrestling again. So wrestling now, I would say right now, no matter how many fucking New Japan fanboys disagree or fucking anybody disagrees, I think this is the greatest roster they ever had since the Ruthless Aggression era, and sometimes they put on phenomenal matches and events like NXT. A lot of the main event roster guys are fucking incredible, but they don't use them right. But I'll pick this time and this era over anything from like 2011, 2012, 2010. Nah, fuck that. 09, 08, I can't. Talking about WWE. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. I'm doing something that is near and dear to my heart, and that's my top 5 wrestling action figure lines. Now, as a kid, action figures was everything to me. Besides my wrestling shit, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the world to me. Even though I'm a little younger, I was born in '85. I had a lot of Masters of the Universe figures, Thundercats, G.I. Joe. I love all that shit to this day. You know, but my Toy Biz too, with like Marvel and the DC guys, and Toy Biz did DC like a little after the Superpowers line. Those are some action figures that are near and dear to my heart. But my favorite is wrestling action figures. Point blank fucking period. And the first wrestling, well, fuck that. Just gonna fuck up the whole. I want to talk about this when I get to what's number one, what's number two, and stuff like that. Okay. So let's get to the countdown. Number 5 is the current Mattel line. I think these are some of the greatest action figures ever produced. Amazing. They got the basic figures. They got the elite figures. Mattel started producing these like in 2010 after Jakks, as the WWE lost the license to Jakks, and they started producing them. Now I don't own any of these. I had a CM Punk. I don't know what Elite series it's from, but he had the Best in the World shirt. His Money in the Bank 2011 attire, basically. I sold that, and I had a Shawn Michaels from like Bad Blood 1997. The figure was based off of with the European title and stuff. I don't know what series it was from, but I sold that as well. I sold it because I'm not the biggest fan of the Mattels to own, but I think they're some of the best looking figures I ever seen. And some of my favorites. They really are some of my favorites. Even though I'm not the biggest fan to like own them, you know what I mean? Like I would like to own the WWF LJN Wrestling Superstar line, or the WWF Hasbro line, or the WCW Glue figures. Now, I would never fucking sell those ever. Fuck that. You know what I mean? But the Mattel figures, I would part ways with, and I gotta put it on the list because there's some of the greatest looking figures I ever seen in my life. Like the legends are just fucking impeccable. The title belts are the greatest I ever seen it. They blow Jack Pacific out the motherfucking water. They're just great looking, man. Absolutely tremendous looking. I love them. They look fucking great. Now my uncle has a few of them, in package. Like I said, I had Shawn Michaels from the 1997 Bad Blood era type attire, and I had CM Punk in his Money in the Bank 2011 attire, but I sold them bitches. So number 5 is the current Mattel line, WWE. Next would have to be the WWF Superstars bone crunching action figures from like 1996 to like 99 before they did that like real scan Titantron live shit that I fucking detest. Now the bone crunchers, right? As a grown man, you're like, God damn, man, these figures, the faces are just fucking atrocious, which they are. But I gotta put them on the fucking list for nostalgia purposes mainly, and because they're great figures in my opinion. Preferably like the '96 to '98 line. I love to death. Really love those figures, man. And they did. If I want to start getting those again, I currently have none. I could start to build those up again because they're not as expensive as other figure lines that I absolutely love. And the first time I ever seen these was amazing. There was no commercial, none of that shit, yo. Okay, I grew up kind of fucking poor. I got spoiled from my father's side of the family though. They spoiled me rotten, yo. Um, but me and my uncle went to the motherfucking store to cash some bottles to get something to drink. It was kind of hot outside, so we cashed in the bottles. We got golly at least $11 to $12 out that shit. That's like hood rich, that's nigga rich, right? So we go to the motherfucking store, cash the bottles. Then we walk to like it was where we lived in the projects before was like all if you walk a few miles, you get to mad shopping centers. It was so much fun back in the day, right? So we go to the toy store. I think this is I don't know if it's a New England thing or just an East Coast thing. It's called KB Toy Works. KB Toy Works was a toy store we went to. This is 1996. Um, so after we get our drinks and our little snacks or whatever, there's about $7 left. $5, $5 to $6, $7 left. I can't remember. And we see the first line of the WWF Bone Crunching figures, and I believe it consisted of Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Razor Ramon, Goldust, Undertaker, and Bret the Hitman Hart. I might be off a figure or two, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And I don't know if y'all remember, but the Just Toys Bendums, I had a funny story about those on my channel. When those came out like in '94, the Jax line was getting talked about like around '95. And I heard on a figure forum that Lex Luger and Dunk the Clown was supposed to be part of this series, and I kind of believe that because when you get the Shawn Michaels, not the figure himself, the Shawn Michaels figure is based off the SummerSlam 1995 match he had with Razor Ramon, but the little picture in the corner is him from like 1994, and I always thought that shit was weird. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, when I seen those figures, I was amazed because before that. I like the Bendums, the Just Toy Bendums, right? But that was after Hasbro, and we'll get to Hasbro in a minute. But those Hasbro figures were the world to me, and I was just like, what the fuck, man? Like, I wanted something more. So when I seen those Bone Crunching action figures, one of the greatest days of my life as a kid. You know what I mean? As corny as that may sound, it fucking was, bro. Like, and I had enough to get one, so I got Shawn Michaels, and I was hype as fuck. And after that day, I wanted to play with Shawn. Who am I gonna play with, right? So I did mad motherfucking chores for my mother, whether it be doing the laundry, dishes, all that shit. And I got money, and these figures are like $6 a pop. So I'll save to have like 12. I went back, and I got like Diesel and Taker, Undertaker. Then I do chores again, and I'll get Bret Hart and Goldust. The only figure I never owned as a kid was Razor Ramon. And I'll tell you why. I had numerous chances to get him. I was at the store called Ames one day, and I was just looking at him. I had the money on me, and I was like, yo, this nigga looks whack. Razor Ramon, as y'all know, in my top 5 wrestlers video, he's in my top 5 favorite of all time. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. And that figure was so disappointing. Like, his body was two-toned. Like, his head was, like, lighter than the body. His eyes are cross-eyed. Even as a kid, you didn't care about looks, but that figure was absolutely atrocious, and I didn't get it. Razor Ramon is cool. That nigga looked goofy. I didn't like it, so I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Didn't get it, and I had all of them. You know what I mean? Then the second series came out. Shawn Michaels in red, which I adored. Vader, Owen Hart, the British Bulldog, I believe. Ultimate Warrior, Vader. Probably missing another Bret Hart, I believe. Another Undertaker. Got all of those. Owned every single one of them. You know. Then it stopped producing figures like Psycho Sid and Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin figure. This is based on his like '97 heel run against like when he started fucking with Bret Hart like in late '96 to '97. He was in a line called Bad Boys with Jerry the King Lawler, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, which is JBL now, Farouk, a couple other dudes I can't remember, but that figure disappointed me because even the Just Toys figure, okay, when Stone Cold Steve Austin entered the WWE, he was known as the Ringmaster in '96, and he wore black trunks with I think dark green and black trunks. He switched between the two. And white boots with a black star on each boot. And for some fucking reason, he was ringmaster for like what, 2 to 3 months. He wasn't ringmaster for fucking long, right? And for some reason, these fucking action figures had the star on the boots, but had him looking like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I fucking hated that. As Stone Cold Steve Austin, he never wore a star on the boots. I know that's critiquing overboard, but I'm a fucking wrestling nerd. I'm a wrestling attire nerd. And that shit didn't set with me. I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Still, I was happy to get him. Because I wanted a replication of Steve Austin forever. And they finally made him. And it was awesome. I got him on my 12th birthday. When I was like 12, I stopped playing with figures. Hip hop that took over fully at that time. Even though when I was 10, I still collected figures and hip hop and cassettes and stuff. But by that time, I was listening to music constantly, trying to buy cassettes constantly. But I did collect them and I threw them on my dresser, you know what I mean, for decoration. And I bought Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ken Shamrock, Flash Funk, and a couple of other dudes for my birthday in '97. But yeah, man, great line. I love that bone crunching action figure line. My uncle Tony, R.I.P. He died at a very young age, 26, I believe, or 27, in a motorcycle accident in 1998. He is my life. He bought me a lot of those bone crunching action figures, man. Legion of Doom, the Sultan and Bob Backlund, not the greatest, but Headbangers, the Godwins, the Blackjacks, like that '97 period, man. I had so many of them, man. '96, '97, '98 with the New Age Outlaws, and oh man, those are great. One of my favorites from that line was Christmas '97. My Uncle Tony bought me the championship box set which had Undertaker in his like black attire, which was new at the time. When he dropped the purple gloves, he had him in that attire. But he came with the World Heavyweight Championship, I think. Yeah, he did. And British Bulldog and Owen Hart came with the tag team championships, and a European title. British Bulldog came with, and Rocky Maivia, now The Rock, came with the Intercontinental Championship, and those figures were absolutely amazing. And I that was a near dear that was a near dear place in my heart, man. It really really does, man. And I hope I can get that one day, just to remember my uncle by, and it was fantastic. Um, yeah, man, I love that figure line, man. Even though the likenesses on the faces were god awful, they were great. So next, that's number 4. I gotta go with WCW Galoob figures. I love these motherfucking figures, man. These figures are great. Okay, they came out between 1990 to 1991. Big fucking fan of these figures, man. I have, it's hard for me to remember, like, my first memory in life. I know I said this before. I think I did. I'm not sure. Was Macho Man Randy Savage hitting Hulk Hogan with the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, and like some in the backstage, when Elizabeth got one of the Twin Towers bumped into her, something like, oh no, Hogan, I think Macho bumped into her or something. So one of the Twin Towers, which is Big Boss Man and Akeem, threw him into her. I believe that's how it happened. And they were backstage, and she was like getting checked out by the doctor or whatever, and he didn't want Hogan touching her, all that shit. You know what I'm talking about? The build up to WrestleMania 5. That's my first memory in life, so. But I have a hard time remembering anything like between the ages of 4 and 5. But I had to be like around 6 when this happened, when those Galoob figures came out. And I was in Tennessee on a trip to see my aunt Gail, and my cousin Jason, my cousin Tanisha, and and Rochelle. Um, my aunt Gail moved to Tennessee a long time ago, and I was down there like in 90, 91, 90, somewhere in there. And that's when I started getting the Galoob figures, man, over there. Then I brought them back, and if I seen when I seen the commercial, I was still in Massachusetts at the time, and I seen Sting busting through like this wall, and seeing the little kids play with Ric Flair and Lex Luger and Sting, and I just like I have to have these. The WWF Hasbro line is already out, and I had to have them. I just had to have those figures, man. And the very first figures I got was Sting and the Nature Boy Ric Flair. These figures are some of my favorite figures of all time, man. They were like miniature versions of LJN figures, and they were awesome. A lot of kids that I talked to didn't like them because they didn't do nothing. The Hasbros were all the fucking rage. But the first line consisted of guys like Sting, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Rick and Scott Steiner, the Steiner brothers, Butch Reed and Ron Simmons, Doom. Get some water quick. One of my absolute favorites, Flying Brian Pillman, Arn Anderson, Sid Vicious, Barry Windham. Probably missing a whole bunch, man. But I believe that's the main. Lex Luger, of course, the total package. Lex Luger, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Um, I had all those motherfuckers. Tom Zink. I didn't have Tom Zink. I didn't have Z-Man. I didn't have Barry Windham either when I was a kid. I had everyone else though. And then like the UK series with Big Josh, that's Matt Bourne, aka Dunk the Clown, the heel Dunk the Clown from like '93. Who else? Big Josh, the Natural, Dustin Rhodes, Michael P.S. Hayes, and Jimmy Garvin and the Freebirds, Elegante, Giant Gonzalez. All them niggas was in the UK exclusives, like variants of Ric Flair and Sting. But I love those Galoob figures, man. I absolutely love those figures. From 1990 to 1991, man. This prototype's actually a Diamond Stud, PM News is fucking trash, and Ricky Martin of the Rock and Roll Express. And I'm Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder from the WWE. He's a big action figure collector, and he has all those. So that's fucking rare, and that's dope. But WCW Galoob action figures. I don't know what they call the line. You know what I mean? Do a quick Google search for that. But yeah, man, those figures was awesome. Like I said, they came out around the same time as the Hasbros. A little after the Hasbros, but they were out at the same time as the Hasbros. And just my friends from school just didn't like them for some fucking reason. They said they didn't like the how they were stiff or whatever. So they wouldn't like the LJNs. I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah, I think it's called WCW World Championship Wrestling. So it's all it says on them. Tag Team Superstars. Looking at the tag team package right now. I don't think they even had a fucking name for the line. Superstars of the WCW. Yeah, there you go. They're probably called Superstars of the WCW line. Well, that line, I call them Galoob is more fitting to the collector world out there. So yeah, man, those fucking Galoobs are awesome, man. I absolutely love the Galoob figures, man. Really fucking cool. So next, this is when it gets tricky. Okay, our top two. So we did Mattel, the Bone Crunching, Jakks action figures, WCW Galoob figures, down to the last two. I bounce back and forth with these all the fucking time. Oh Lord, I do have a but. Let's go with WWF Hasbro, the Hasbro line. My God, man, these might be number one on a. Who the fuck knows? Either way, right now I'm gonna say the WWF Hasbro line. Okay, this action figure line is just as important to me as Ready to Die and Only But for Cuban Links is. Seriously, it really is. Those are hip hop albums, if anyone wants to know. Like they're that important to me, man. Seriously, like I seen the commercial during an episode of Superstars on a Saturday morning. The commercial was at Jesse the Body Ventura, and they showed the figures with kids playing with the figures. When I seen those figures, I lost it because I was born in '85 when the WWF LJN figures came out. Some say '84. I'm thinking '85. And my uncle bought them for me when I was a baby, saved for me when I got older. So when I got about three, like what, 87, 88, I played with those figures. I played with them even in like 90, you know, before the Hasbros came out. And when I seen the Hasbros, I just like, I gotta have this shit. So it was nighttime, and my uncle Martin and my mother got me Jake the Snake Roberts, equipped with his Damien Snake and Ted DiBiase. Did he have the $1 million title with him? I'm pretty sure he did. Probably not. I can't remember. He probably did. And I was in love. They had mechanisms like Jake the Snake's arm, like you push it back and it does like a punch. DiBiase does like a clobbering punch when you wind his arm back. And I thought that shit was amazing, especially when the mechanisms are like crisp and clean and not worn down. Thought it was dope. But also, my aunt's boyfriend at the time I was really close to him. He he stole me Smash. Smash from Demolition. So I had three figures. I had Jake the Snake Roberts, Ted DiBiase, and a stolen Smash. So after that, the next figure I had to get just to have some. I was like OCD even then as a kid. I had to have Axe, so I got Axe. When I was a kid. Right after the next day, I got Axe. Then I built a collection. I had basically all of the first series. I had Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, um, Big Boss Man. I didn't have Akeem, and I didn't have Andre the Giant. Buddhist the Barber Beefcake. I pretty much had the whole series of them guys. And although the Hasbro figure line is amazing, there's one thing I hate about it. One thing, and this plagued the line, something terrible. A lot of good kick-ass characters that I love watching on television got shitty representations of themselves, man. And I'm talking about the stuck together legs fusion where they had the fucking hump in their back and you press it and they go flying. I fucking hated that. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, one of my favorite tag teams of all time, had that fucking mechanism. Ultimate Warrior, my favorite wrestler at that time, had that fucking mechanism. Repo Man, Kamala, the first Brutus the Barber Beefcake in the first series had that. Jimmy the Superfly Snuka, Hawk from LOD, that bothered the fuck out of me. Animal looked okay, but Hawk did not. I hated that. That's the only blemish on that line. That's it. And the fact that they were kind of slow with coming out with action figures. Like, for instance, in like 94, they came out with like Bam Bam Bigelow, which was okay because it's up to date, but like Lex Luger with the Narcissus attire. In 94, he was not the Narcissus. He was already the Made in America Lex Luger. You know what I mean? I didn't like that. Undertaker had gray gloves instead of purple. In that 94 line, whatever. I didn't like it at all. Um, so yeah. The Dunk the Clown figure was based off Matt Bourne instead of the guy that played him after. Apollo something or whatever the fuck his name is. But I didn't mind that because I like Matt Bourne way better than the babyface Doink. I like heel Doink better. So only complaints I have on the Hasbro line. I absolutely love the Hasbro line. I still have about a good 8 of them in immaculate condition that I got over the years from an ex girlfriend. I have Razor Ramon, both versions. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, a couple other ones like I don't feel like naming off, but I'm glad I have quite a bit of those. I want to get all them shits, except the green card is gonna be impossible to fucking get. The green card series, I can just forget about it. 1, 2, 3 Gid, Ludwig Borger, Adam Bomb, Heel Crush. Those are out of the fucking equation because it's so fucking expensive. But my favorite figures of the line would have to be it's a fucking three-way tie. It's the 1992 Bret the Hitman Hart figure. Oh my god, I love that figure to death. I have it too in immaculate condition. Thank God. Um, Shawn Michaels, the yellow card Shawn Michaels with his 92 to 93 boy toy attire that came out in 93. I fucking adore that. And the yellow card Razor Ramon with the red trunks and the black vest, the black boots. Oh my god, I love those figures to death. I can't choose between those three. I can't. I just fucking can't do it. So the WWF Hasbro figure line means the fucking world to me. My favorite action figure lines, period. Not even to do with wrestling, period. So that's number 2. Number 1, I had to do it. The WWF LJN Superstars of Wrestling line. Had to do it. Had to do it. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The WWF Hasbro action figure line lasted between 1990 to 1994. Okay? Now, the LJN line lasted between 84 or 85. It's up in the air when those came out to people. I don't want to say 85. Like 85 to 89 is when they ended. Now, I only have one of these figures currently. I have the first series Hulk Hogan, and he has only like 2 blemishes on his knee pads, which is fine. Everything else is like perfect. The paint is immaculate. It's how if you want to get a Hulk Hogan intact, it's gonna run you like $100. Seriously, yo, fuck that shit. But yeah, man. These figures, but they stood at 8 inches tall and they were made of all rubber. And they had unique poses, and I fucking love these figures to death. My first memory of life, like I said, was Macho Man hitting Hulk Hogan with the championship belt. Some of my first memories of life is playing with these figures, man. As a kid, I had Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Big John Studd, Iron Sheik, Roddy Piper, Hillbilly Jim, the Macho Man Randy Savage, Jesse the Body Ventura, Corporal Kirshner, King Kong Bundy. Fuck, man. A lot of these motherfuckers, man. I had a lot of them, man. And by the time the Hasbros came out, they kind of looked beat the fuck up. But in 1997, when I didn't play with figures and fuck you out, homie, I miss you, man. He gave me a bag full of fucking LJN figures that looked immaculate for free. He didn't want them anymore. They looked immaculate. Not one paint mark off them. They looked great. I had all the ones as a kid. There were like 25 to 30 figures in that bag. I swear to God. British Bulldogs, all of them. And I didn't play with them. I just kept them and looked at them when I wanted to look at them. Right. So what pisses me off? What I did, my little brother Jordan. I just loved him in death. Still do. He's 23 right now, 22, somewhere around there. When he was a little kid, like in 2001, when I moved out to move with my grandparents. My mom was moving to Providence, Rhode Island. I didn't want to move to Rhode Island. I had to attend a new school. I had a girlfriend at the time. I had all my boys. I did not want to move to no fucking other school. So, I felt like I didn't want these fig. When you get older, you just care about pussy, right? You care about bitches and shit. You don't care about action figures. But when you get older, you go back to the action figures. That's how I was. I was ashamed, like, oh no, I don't want these figures. I don't know what I still loved wrestling then. I don't know what the fuck ever the figures. It was like 2001, and I gave my little brother the figures. My little brother didn't like those figures that much. He liked the Jax figures that were going on at the time. I think it was like Real Scan probably at the time or shit like that. He liked those figures, the new figures like the Hardy Boys and Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho. He had a bunch of those. He didn't like those figures, but he didn't play with them. So when my fucking faggot ass mother's boyfriend, who's Jordan's father, I'm sorry, he threw all my figures away, man. All the LJN figures away. And there was nothing wrong with them. They just stood in the bag. Jordan didn't play with them, so he just threw them and fuck away. That pissed me off to high heaven. You know what I mean? I wish I would have kept them. I really wish I would have kept them, man. What in the fuck was I thinking for not keeping those figures, man? Oh, it annoys the fuck out of me, man. But anyway, I want to buy them over again. I haven't had all the managers, man. Mean Gene Okerlund, Classic Footy Blassie, all them shits, man. Why the fuck didn't I keep that? But I need to get that over again. I just have Hulk Hogan now. I'm slowly but surely gonna build it all back up again. My favorite action figure line from wrestling is definitely the WWF LJN Superstars of Wrestling figures. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Some of the hip hop diehards will not want to watch this. So be it. Fuck off. I don't care. All my wrestling heads watch it. Enjoy it. I'll see y'all niggas on the flip side. I love y'all. Peace.